planet Earth is to be in. Hello, hello. Greetings of peace, love, and happiness, everyone. Welcome to Winds of Change. Sometimes in the greatest winds of change, one realizes their great sense of direction, where they have to go, what they have to do. And then, when that kind of a thing happens, a revolution happens. They don't realize it then, but then, they had a vision that saw something powerful that could happen in the future if they put their efforts to it. And on the show, Winds of Change by Chilparko International, we have such transformative change leaders who have brought a revolution of sorts. And that revolution has definitely created a stir. And today we have with us, well, one of my very wonderful friends and he is a humble, humane, humanitarian, ever smiling, ever helpful, ever gracious. And you know what? I don't know how he does it, but if you happen to ask him a question, even on his WhatsApp, though he has, God knows, 50,000 people with him, on connected, he will still answer your question, and that too very nicely, with a greeting, everything, which normal people don't really do. And that is something which I really admire him for, and I really salute his spirit, because I don't know how he does it, but he does it. Within 5 minutes you get an answer to whatever question you have asked. We have with us the wonderful founder of All India Educators Forum. He is the CBSE moderator. He is NCERT master trainer. He is a teacher, and he really prides himself on being a teacher. He's an author, and most important, he knows how to make numbers easy for people, because first and foremost, he is an expert mathematician. Maths being his subject of expertise, which is not mine indeed. But yes, we have with us Mr. Matthews K. Thomas, and a big welcome to you. And it is so difficult to catch you. And I was planning on catching you, but I know how busy you are. I'm sure. And we just had a little bit of a power game. The power decided to just disappear, but thankfully it came back. That was sweet of the. But how have you been?
I've been very good, and thank you for the wonderful introduction. And the power game, actually, that's itself a life lesson. When you are some big thing is going to happen, and suddenly there are hiccups, and you feel, oh my God, I've been preparing for this, and suddenly this has happened. And that's what happens in our, I think, in everyday journey. When there
Yep.
are small hiccups, we
Yes.
we tend to, get overburdened, or we tend to look at the negative part. But the
Not
positive
you.
part was
You don't get overburdened. You don't
within
get stressed.
within two
I
minutes the
mean,
power came,
we
and
all
yeah.
probably, we burden you, we bombard you with questions, saying, oh my God, heavens are going to fall. But you're so calm, you're so cool. You have a solution for everything. And that's what makes you so amazing, believe me. And even now, you were so calm. And that's why, because you were so calm, the power just, played a little game for 5 minutes and came
Yeah,
back.
correct.
But yes, that was wonderful. So all right, I know that you are a wonderful person, smiling, helpful, humanitarian, and an educator. And first and foremost, you love being a passionate educator. But what more is Mr. Matthews all about?
That's so actually, I am a very, the boy next door, if I can permit myself to be called a boy
Of
anymore.
course, yeah, you're still a boy next door.
So, so the whole idea of creating an organization was without any hierarchy, without anything, everywhere everybody is equal, because I felt that a change is only possible when educators, they combine their efforts to do something where people voluntarily come. It's not a job, it's a voluntary organization where people devote time. And in today's world, I think the greatest gift that you can give to somebody is giving your time. It's very easy to give money, and you help out something in some other way, but time is very precious. And I felt that there were a lot of people who had a lot of potential, and they were not being utilized in their respective institutions, and they wanted to do so much
Absolutely.
more. And that is when this whole idea of starting this organization come up. So basically, I took the opportunity. I leapt in, and many people think that if I am alone, what will I do? But I have seen so many people who tread the path, and there are so many people who follow them, and they become a big crowd. And that's what I did. And I mean, you are one of the people who were associated with this organization from the beginning, and so
From
its
the
journey
beginning,
when we were
yes.
just 20, 30 people, and now to over 30,000. So that itself
Oh my
shows.
God.
So that shows our journey, that when we are doing something good, there are a lot of people who are ready to support you and join you.
You're right. This last line which you said, when there are good people on a mission together, and actually it's completely selfless, no
Correct.
conditions attached to it, that's the time when some good can really come out of it. But, if people try to, attach a lot of connotations to it, which don't even have any relevance, that's when the beauty of the entire concept goes for a toss. But I remember, and you did this before the pandemic. We never thought about the pandemic till then, and though we probably most of us had read the prophecies of Nostradamus, but nobody really thought about that something as we as frightening as the COVID would happen. And so, because we already had this wonderful platform on when the COVID came, it was actually a huge respite for all of us to connect. And that was so wonderful because we could still connect, we could still learn, we could still create a lot of things together. And again, what you just now said, that everybody had so much potential, everybody has their area of uniqueness which only you recognized and appreciated and also celebrated. This is something which not many people do. I mean, people cannot appreciate, people cannot celebrate, people cannot understand the uniqueness of every individual, and they put people in structures. But you did not do any such thing. You gave people the freedom to do it their way. If you had to make a presentation, do it your way, ma'am. No, 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 absolutely. You just do it. So, that's what made it so wonderful. And it never felt like we were going to overburden. It always felt, wow, we have something to look forward to today. That was like a light at the end of the tunnel, because in the days of the COVID, everybody was like at home, what to do, what to do. So I think you had this wonderful vision. Tell me now, are you some astrologer? Did you have this vision that something like that is going to happen? Or did it just come to you?
No, no, no. Astrologer is you only.
I'm a tarot reader. Yes.
So, I am not at all, but I strongly believed that if you start something good, there will be people who will be there to support you. And you were very right that when you recognize people, I mean, we have the lovely that group, that global teachers forum, and initially whenever there was a small achievement, people used to post that, see, I
Yeah.
got this award, I
It
got
was
this
so much
certificate,
fun.
because that
Yeah.
because they want people to appreciate them also, and it
Yeah. It
becomes
was so much
motivation.
fun,
Yeah,
because
so much fun. And people
everybody needs
wanted
it,
that appreciation. So,
Yeah.
so then you realize that, there are that human being needs appreciation. However big you become, that appreciation is required. And sometimes when that appreciation is not there, then what happens is that small groups like this bring in so much joy. And those people who started with us, many of them have started their own organization, and they are doing so much better and they said that, that was the first step when we got that confidence that we can do things independently. So I think and we started before the COVID. That was a big advantage. I mean,
That was a wonderful part.
yeah,
I remember
and
I was in Singapore at that time, and I got
mm,
this message and I said, it sounds good. And immediately I went for it. And I'm so glad I did, because I also thought, no, this is going to be something that I'm really going to enjoy. And we really had a lot of fun in the initial days. But obviously, after that, when the pandemic subsided, things went back to normal. Everybody had to get back to their normal routine. So, somewhere it came a little on the
yeah,
sideline, but
correct.
that doesn't mean that it's not there. I mean, it's going on wonderfully and beautifully. And the way you have sort of put things together, I mean, you've added on a lot of things to it. But tell me, what are more of your plans to expand it?
Yeah.
What plans do you have? Because everyone, we are all at heart, we're all children, and everyone loves those kind of, way, everyone loves those claps and those applauds, and so what are your plans to furthermore? Because I know you're a hardcore educationist who loves to bring smiles on every educator's face. So what are your plans? I'm sure you
I
have
think,
something up
yeah,
your
yes,
sleeve.
yes, yes. Because having interacted with so many educators, I'm really surprised by the thought process of some educators. Many of us who live in cities cannot even imagine the condition and the state in which many of the teachers are giving education to, in the rural areas, and, where there
Mm.
is probably a lot of difficulty even in getting basic equipments.
Yes,
So,
yes.
I think we are, Kate, in the past 3 years, we've done pretty well, teaching a lot of tech tools, a lot of
Oh,
classroom
yes.
management techniques, a lot of material is being shared. But now, when I'm interacting with the, teachers from rural areas, the challenges
Mm,
are totally different and nobody's bothered about them.
mm.
And you feel that there is a huge gap between the teachers in the cities and teachers who are in the interiors. So what happens is that and nobody's there to tell them even basic things. And so the mission now is to reach out to those people who really require our help, because I think more or less because of YouTube and the internet and all that, the cities are now more or less, we have so many
Oh,
groups where we get information about.
yes,
But there are
absolutely.
still some pockets in, and imagine if the teachers are not equipped, then what will happen to our students,
The young ones,
young
yes.
ones? And this is the first time, I mean, I don't know whether I should say it or not, but this is the first time that the PGTs of the schools were appointed in government schools as this center superintendents. And so far we did not know how the government schools function, because every board exam, only the government school kids used to go somewhere, and everything was managed. This is the first time private school teachers went as the center superintendents to these government schools in the interiors. And the results are very shocking, which I should not be talking in the program, but it's very, very shocking. That what is the state of
Oh,
education that is going
yes.
on there is
It's
pathetic.
appalling. It's appalling to say the least. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
also a very small word.
yes,
The results are really something. People have totally sidelined them, overlooked things, and
yes.
unfortunately, some of the educators in those places also, because see, for whatever it is, shortage of funds or
Uh-huh.
shortage of the real people who can really teach that subject. Um, they're not really fully equipped to, like you said, they don't even know the subject themselves, and they
Correct.
teaching the young ones. I think it is very sad for the young ones to be learning from such people, because
Yes. And I think
yeah.
teachers need to be more empowerment. I mean, we
Yes,
need
yes,
to
yes,
get into that professional category, just like
yes.
doctors and engineers. The smart people are not going into the teaching. This is probably a last resort for many. With
Mm,
many in the, 20 years back, there were people who took this as a vocation, and
yes,
nowadays,
absolutely.
nowadays, youngsters don't want to get into teaching. They
Yeah.
will try out various stuff, and therefore, what is happening? The teaching standards of the teachers today, if you compare, no offense to the young ones, I mean, there may be good
I
ones,
know,
but
I know,
as
I
an
agree
exception.
with you, but it's
But
going
at the
low.
same time,
Let's say it,
if
let's
you
be
just
blunt.
compare people who have put in their life and soul into teaching, and now
Oh,
more
yes.
corporate culture,
Life
they
and soul is exactly what it is.
yeah,
So much of passion was there.
yes,
There
yes,
was so much of feeling of, that I want to do this,
yeah.
and it wasn't about the money, because
It was
money
not
we
at all
all know
about the money,
it's
because it was one of
peanuts.
the
It's
lowest paid
peanuts in
jobs when we
education.
entered the profession. You see, if we would have gone to the corporate, we would have earned 5 times
Oh
more.
yes.
But
Oh
we chose
yes.
this because we loved it.
We
Uh,
loved it.
yeah,
That's true. That's true. And it was peanuts in those days. I mean,
correct,
you go
correct,
back to the
absolutely.
90s, it was peanuts.
Yes, yes.
Uh, I mean, if that way, if we actually see the money now, the money is better than that time. But,
Mm.
then there is no passion. There's no, that sense of really going out that extra mile and doing something very different. It's all very structured,
Yes.
unfortunately, and sad. It's a dismal state of affairs. And I feel that, at times, I mean, this I'm saying to you, that sometimes I feel that the need in such schools or educational institutions, I'm sure you have something like this up your mind, because you really value experience. I think sometimes every school should have a post for a person who is experienced, so that they can guide these people properly, because otherwise, they're all going haywire. It's not about following structures, it's about actually training the young ones, the youngsters, the futures of a global community, towards being good human beings, but they don't know how to handle failures, for example. I
Mm.
mean, they're
Very
getting
well.
good marks, very good, but that's not the end of the world. There's so much more, and I'm sure you're seeing all this even now. It's all around you. It's all around you. I remember you narrating a story like that, and every other day, I think you have a story where, there's a student who cannot handle failure, and so he comes running and crying to you. I mean, boys and
Mm.
girls both, and at times teachers as well. And I know
Yeah.
how you help them.
Yeah, I think experience and expertise has to be valued by any institution.
Yes.
The
But
problem
unfortunately,
comes,
it's not. No, Mr.
yeah,
Matthews,
when,
this is one thing that you need to take up as a revolutionary in education.
yes. Yeah,
Really.
I mean, if experience and expertise is not respected by any organization or institution, then that institution will obviously be on the, downside.
Crash.
There will, yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh,
And
yes.
then if, I mean, a person who has taught 20 years, 30 years, not necessarily will be very good, but at the same time, they have so many experiences to share. And
Yes.
also expertise, that matters a lot, because every year as a teacher, I am sure we are not teaching the same thing. Every year we are becoming better. I mean, we should become better.
Yes. Yes,
And
we should
every
become
year,
better.
yes,
But unfortunately, many teachers that I've also met recently, I've realized that, it's actually going down,
correct.
honestly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this is, I mean, all due regards to their learning, their degrees, their PhDs and everything. But, somewhere they don't lack that. They lack empathy, they lack sensitivity, and they don't really go down to the level of the students to teach them. And I think that is so very important. I mean, I know you have been always saying that, we need to come down to the level of
Yeah.
the child when we're explaining something. We cannot expect the child to know everything from the very beginning. So this is a revolution that only Mr. Matthews can bring in, because, there are
Not
some,
only me, it is like a combined
all of
effort
us
of,
together.
yes. Because,
Yes, yes.
what has happened is that, uh, you know, uh, in the past so many years, it used to be, four or five people making the decision in the school, principal,
Hmm.
vice principal, coordinators.
Yes,
And
yes,
what happens is the other stakeholders are not involved in any decisions at all. Whereas
In
education
Hindi,
is
they can be
something.
called as bechara. Bechare.
So the education is something which is, when it is affecting so many kids, you should involve so many other people. I mean, it should not be the prerogative of few individual deciding
Yes,
for
absolutely. I
three
fully
thousand,
agree.
4,000 kids. And that's what is happening. I mean, although our SQAF and, the CBSE and NEP is bringing out on paper so many things, but when it is going to be implemented in the true spirits is the big question mark.
That's so true, but I hope, when like-minded souls, like you said, so many of us are together on a mission. I'm sure somewhere down, and when we're talking about it also, it might, impact someone who's hearing it, and they might think that, yeah, this is a point and this is a relevant point, and we should do something about it. Because, while at the same time we value youngsters, we need to value the experienced folks as well, because it's like both sides. If you
Yes,
really need something to actually become a dynamite, actually, actually that revolution should happen and actual learning should happen, then it has to be a good amalgamation, a good fusion of experience and the fresh energy that comes in, because fresh energy is also required. So
absolutely. I mean,
yeah,
change
so
is
we
the
need
essence
them
of
as
life.
well.
I
We need
mean,
them because
so that
they're much more adept in technology per se. But
technology, right?
though, I would say that, all of us, I mean, you are, perhaps a decade younger, but, I would say that I was quite surprised, that I actually learned technology. I could never have thought about 5, 6 years back. I just thought, yeah, it's okay. I would do a PPT or do something like that and finish. But now, I mean, now one can do just about anything with technology. And I think that's the wondrous part, that's a
Yeah, I
wondrous part.
think we are living in the best of times, to be very frank. When we were
Yes,
kids,
yes.
we didn't even have a mobile phone, you see. And
Oh, yeah.
from that stage and coming to this where we are, actually having sessions, we are making PPT. I mean, the journey, I mean, today's kids will not understand that. I
No,
mean,
they
a
won't.
youngster of probably in the
They'll say,
20s.
ma'am, why are you wasting so much time preparing this PPT? Let me do it
Yeah.
for you with a jiffy. And now
So,
we have AI coming in, and AI
absolutely.
says, put your matter here, and I'll give you a PPT in
Correct.
instant.
Yeah.
I think I don't know, but somewhere I feel, I would rather do it myself.
No,
I
it's
still feel that way.
so that's because we have been, brought up in that
Brought up that
where
way,
we
yes.
are
I,
our own instincts are, we feel that it is much better than the AI. So, for
yeah,
example,
I
I'll
put
give you.
myself
I
into
have
it.
uh, I have a car in which there is a reverse camera, all automated systems, but still I have the tendency to look back and see, because and people ask me, you have
I do
everything there.
the
Why do you
same.
see? See,
Oh
that's
my
the
God,
instinct.
I do the same.
So that's the instinct.
Yes,
You feel that you have better instincts. You will look back and see
yes,
whether
you
everything
look
is
back, you
okay,
will still do
rather
this.
than believing in the
Yes.
camera, which is already fitted in your car. So,
Actually, I've been told by my kids many times, Mama, why are you doing that?
correct,
You
correct.
look in front. You get a sprayed or something will happen to your neck. I said, it's just out of habit, out of habit. But yes, you mentioned mobile phones. The Prime Minister of UK, Rishi Sunak, he has banned mobile phones in schools, not only amongst the kids, but also the educators. How do you think this could help us in India? Do you think it could have an impact if even educators did not have their mobile phones?
I think mobiles have become a disease, especially. See, I am thankful to I mean God that we didn't have mobiles when we were young, because we would not have even because now this is such a distraction. You have
Yeah,
Instagram, you have
absolutely.
Facebook,
Yeah.
you have WhatsApp, and God knows what not, where they keep chatting, and you have those reels which are so addictive, one after the other. So I mean, it's a a condition where the children are not able to focus in the classroom. As adults, of course, there is also a problem that it can be made of good use as well as bad. Now, for example, if so much information that we are getting, I mean, whatever technology we have learned is thanks to the internet. When we
Absolutely.
have gone through YouTube, we have gone through videos, and we have learned. I mean, we didn't attend any classes as such to
No,
learn.
we
Is
didn't.
we learned everything by listening to other people who are better than us. So
Yeah.
in a way, for the adults, I think since we are already matured and we have reached a stage where this we have self-control, I think for the adults it is little less. But for the children, it's a very dangerous situation because the
Mm.
children are without mobiles. I think it's become part of their system. I
Yeah.
mean, if you take away the mobile from there, they feel handicapped. So it becomes a little problematic in the classrooms of, because some of them are sleepy, some of them think about what they have watched the previous night. So getting them back into that classroom,
Mode.
it's a little
Oh,
difficult. And so many students are into gaming. Some may
oh,
be,
yes.
watching sites which they are not supposed to. So what
Mm.
happens is that, all this, as you very rightly said, it's a big challenge for the students.
Mm. It
And
is.
in a way, I tell the students who are studying, this is the best time for you to crack these competitive exams, because 99% of the students are not studying. So the
Mm.
1% who study, they will get through all these exams. So that is why we have more, students from lesser known cities or rural areas now getting, good marks in the competitive exams
Oh,
as
yes.
compared to people in the cities. They don't want to sit 10 even one day without the mobile. Mobile is necessary. So I think it's a big problem. As far as school is concerned, I think it should be totally banned, the use of which.
Yeah.
I mean, many schools are
Absolutely.
already doing. In our school, we are not even allowed to pick calls or anything like that. In the classroom, we cannot take at all. We cannot use the mobile in the class. I mean, many schools, this becomes a problem because the teacher, instead of teaching, is, chatting or looking into uh,
Yeah.
the
And
mobile
then,
phone.
the purpose of education, I mean, 6, 7, 8 hours, how many hours one is in school, one should be completely focused.
Correct.
Once the school bell goes and you're out of the
Huh.
gates of the school, then you can do just about anything that you want to. But, I think it's a good idea. People are not able to, put a mark there, set a boundary. So even while they're juggling everything together. And I think that's where they go wrong. But yeah, you're so right. And now I know, because you're a super busy man, I'll just ask you one last question. That so there are so many things about education that we still are not aware of. We're not very clear about. What do you think are some areas that should be the focus of educators? And this is for everybody, all educators from, India or from any part of the global community. I think for everyone, for global education, what are some areas you feel that really need to be, you know, um, made, considered? I mean, not overrated or underrated, but they should be, taken into consideration in a more practical and more purposeful way. So what are those some areas, if you would like to share?
Yeah, I think the whole concept of education is getting misinterpreted. Education is not going to the school and learning subjects. I
Hmm.
mean, people who may be on the street may be more educated in life as compared to people who are sitting in those posh schools.
Hmm.
So I think
Hmm.
the whole concept of education, which which were left probably 70, 80 years back in preparing clerks, is no longer valid. So what is important is introduction of life skills, introduction of vocational qualities, introduction of empathy, introduction of environmental sciences. I mean, look at the environment, what is happening. I mean, in 20, 30 years, are we going to even breathe? That's a big question mark. And see the roads where people just throw stuff and all that. I
Oh,
mean, and there is so much divisive politics based on caste, creed, religion, language. So all this is, if you are educated, I mean, and people understand each other, when we are believing that all people are good and all people are working together for a common cause. I think that's what education is. When I read, stories in the newspaper that, there are 15-year-old, 16-year-old kids who have got involved in criminal activities.
yeah.
So I really wonder, what has been their educational system? I mean, has the school failed? Has the parents failed? It's little worrying when children below 18 are involved in heinous crimes. And I think that's what our society needs to change from the beginning. I mean, it starts from the home.
It
School
starts.
has to play a very important role. I think schools, instead of these, the rote memorization and passing one exam to the other, as you rightly said, are we making good human beings? That is most
Yeah.
important.
So I
And
think
if
this
we
is the
have good
main.
human beings, then the world will become a brighter place. Otherwise, I really have,
Absolutely. I
yeah,
say it all the time.
correct.
We say it all the time. See, eventually, the purpose of education is to ensure that the legacy of a good human being keeps on going further. Of course, we do
Absolutely.
lots of things. Every individual is unique, but at the core, the essence of a human existence is being a good human being. A good human being who values others, who respects others, who's sensitive to other people's needs, who knows how to celebrate other people's victories, achievements. I think, there's so much in this world to be happy for, and there's so much place and room on planet Earth for everyone, because everyone is unique. But planet Earth is also very generous and I think benevolent. They have room for every beautiful, unique, unstoppable soul, to plant themselves and to share their expertise with the world, like you are doing so brilliantly. You are a wonderful example, and I really hope, we have more passionate educators like you, who actually create this kind of a revolution, which is transformative, which actually, connects people rather than makes them drift apart. This is the need of the hour. So I would just say a big salute to you, Mr. Matthews. Keep inspiring and keep leading, keep showing the way. And a big, big thank you to you for chatting. And surely, you're deserving of this winds of change, because you have created a revolution that is positive, a revolution that is transformative, a revolution that is life changing. And I can only say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to you. So
Thank you for inviting, and thank you for also inviting so many speakers from different parts of the world, because that's also important. You are taking
yes,
out time to call people, making an effort to build people, and so that these voices can be heard. So I think there should be more people like you also who are
thank
helping
you.
people to express themselves. Otherwise, most people they have these ideologies, but it never comes out. So thanks to
Yes.
you also, because social media is a big responsibility
Oh,
and you are
yes.
fulfilling
I
that
love it now.
responsibility.
There was a time I never, like I said, but
Yes,
I love it because I've met some of the most wonderful people on social
exactly.
media as well. And in fact, we also met for the first time, though it was on social media only.
Yes, yes.
I would say a big thank you to social media as well,
Absolutely.
and thank
Yes.
you to God Almighty. I mean, it was just, the universe conspiring to get all of us together. So thank you to that.
Absolutely.
And thank you once again to you. And thank you to everyone who joined the live today. This was Mr. Matthews Thomas, the wonderful, wonderful founder of All India Educators Forum. Like he said, he's the boy next door, but his vision and his power. I mean, he's a humble soul who truly understands the true purpose of education, as you just now heard him speak. So, once again, a big thank you. Once again, a big thank you to everyone for joining us. In case you did not join us on the live, do watch this because he had some powerful stuff to share with all of us. Thank you so much once again, Mr. Matthews, and
Thank you.
thank you to
Thank you,
everyone.
and good night.
Hasta mañana till we meet again. Bye bye. Take
Bye.
care. Stay happy, stay blessed, and let's continue spreading smiles, sanguinity, positivity, and make planet Earth a beautiful place to be in. Bye bye. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, ma'am.
Good night.